Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Talk Pensions and Benefits UK. This week, I'm joined by Annezel Norval. Great to have Annezel on the show. Welcome. How are you? And hopefully you're excited. There seems to be a few nerves, but hopefully you're excited to be a part of today's episode.
I'm good, thanks, Tony.
Yeah, very well, very well. Now, today's episode, the agenda, if you will, we're talking about starting a new job during a pandemic, or slightly before the pandemic really kicked in. Annezel got a new job with Benefex back in February. We're now just coming to the end of November, so I'm very interested, and hopefully our listeners, our audience are going to be interested in hearing what it's been like to start a new role and to be onboarded in a new role, and anything that you have particularly achieved and taken away over the last kind of 9 or 10 months or so. So any insight would be great. Over to you. Talk what happened. How did we get to a stage where you were looking and you got the job at Benefex?
So when I got the job at Benefex, I started on the 3rd of March.
Yep.
2 weeks in, and lo and behold, COVID.
There we are.
So with any other position, the first 2 weeks you do training. It is security, it's money laundering, data protection, and that's what we focus on, with the viewpoint of going into the more intricate parts of the business over time. So came in on the Monday, all sat down, all of a sudden, urgent announcement, hauled off to the boardroom, and we all sat there eagerly awaiting the announcement. And then we were all told to clear our desks, take our laptops, and go home. And I'm sitting there going, okay, right, we're going home. And I think the first week, so the day after, it really hit. It's like, I'm used to working from home, so it's fine. I can do this. And you switch on your laptop and you're like, okay, what am I doing now? I'm supposed to be in training. Is my trainer still going to be there? Are we, speaking to other on Teams? What are we doing? And I think I was very lucky. And I was lucky I joined Benefex, because everything they preach to their customers about health and well-being and everything encompasses what we do. They gave that exactly to me. That morning, I got a call from my manager, said, right, things have changed slightly. This is what we're going to do. And they arranged online training for me. Look, I'm not going to lie. It's not easy doing online training. So people that study online and things, good on you. I personally couldn't do it. I'm a person that loves to talk, loves to ask questions, and you only have this little bit of time that you can speak to your trainer, and then you have to get on with it. And before I knew it, I was doing a full-blown job with the minimum training that I had. And as much as you think you know everything because you've done this for years, as soon as you join a new company, their processes are completely different. Yep. It's all new. And I think that was the scary part, because it was like muddling through, okay, what do I do now? Then I do this. No, it's wrong. You have to do this. You need to speak to this person. And I think I came to a point about 2 weeks into COVID where I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I honestly felt like the biggest failure. Wow. And I'm not just saying that. I really felt incompetent as a person, because I know what I'm doing, but I don't know the processes. I don't know where to begin. I don't know the people within Benefex to actually go and ask the right questions to. And I felt so low. And it probably lasted for about 3 days. And then there was just a part of me after the 3 days saying, come on, really? You're better than this. And I just started pinging people on Teams. Can you help me with this? Who do I need to speak to do this? And from there, I literally just build up this whole directory within Benefex for myself of who to speak to.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, I was making friends. I was joining calls. I was meeting my customers. And I was designing my own schemes. And that's when it all sort of started, falling into place. Don't get me wrong. It's not, when you look at certain things, and everybody at Benefex knows, I hate data flow. I really do. It took me about 3 months to learn data flow. The most simplest thing in the world now for me to do was the absolute worst thing. Every time somebody said to me, you need to go and do X, Y, Z on data flow, I was like, everything, I just fell. It's like, no, I can't. Because you open that document and it's like this waft of information, and it's like, now you have to go and find what you need to do. And now it's just like the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
I also think the thing that helped me through it, because as much as we like to think we're strong, we've done this before, we've all worked from home, we can do this, you do get weeks where you start to feel lonely, especially the fact that you don't have that connection with your colleagues. And one of our senior bots, Gethin, he does these well-being podcasts every week. And what they started doing was doing these for us. So be it community well-being, leisure well-being, financial well-being, they started using those presenters to do it for their employees at Benefex. And that really helped me through, because all the tools that I need was on our platform. I just needed to go and find it. The presenters were there. And I think the one thing that I also loved about Benefex was we all have these dates in our calendars of big events that happens at our company. So with Benefex, it was their summer quiz. That was very interesting and absolutely loved it. Trying to host a quiz for 280 plus people on Zoom, honestly, hats off to the social committee. How they kept us all straight is beyond me. And then today, I received this massive big box from Benefex, a Christmas box, with all the little things that you need for Christmas. Of course, I've reached for the chocolates first, as you do, but it was just so nice to feel included. And now, moving on, been with them for almost 9 months now, and I'm not part of the furniture.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me. I know everybody. I know what to do. I know where to go. But I do believe at the end of the day, if I didn't take that initiative in the beginning to just be an annoyance to everybody, to just try and find out what I need to do, I think that benefited me in the long run. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic story, and it's great to hear. I know you and I have spoken quite a bit over the last couple of months, and it is great to hear that you are settling in so well. And I look back at all the conversations that I had at the start of the year with people like yourself, that we were placing in new jobs. And I think that was the question mark. It was, how am I going to get to know people? How am I going to suss out who's best to talk to? What if no one wants to help me? What if I'm going to be isolated and I'm going to be on my own? And I think from speaking to a lot of people in a similar boat to you, no one's had that experience. Everyone's had, everyone has been so welcoming, not just at Benefex with yourself, but so many companies across, up and down the country, big companies, small companies, pensions, benefits, whatever it may be. I think most people, the vast majority of people, have had a positive experience where they started to reach out, and people have taken the time to help. And if they can't help, they pointed them in the right direction. So the advice, really, if there is anyone listening, and hopefully there's someone listening that will take something away from this, it's be a pest. Like you said, there's no harm in reaching out and having those conversations. And did you get the impression early on that that kind of approach was going to be welcomed and was being encouraged by all the people from top to bottom that you were interacting with?
I'd love to say yes. Look, you never know how people are going to react. And because you're new at a company, you want to make a good impression. I mean, at the end of the day, they hired you for your skill set. So you should know what you're doing. And now you're asking them for help. That's the first thing that came to my mind. It's just, you know what you're doing. So why are you asking people for help?
Okay.
So I was scared, but I can promise you that nobody said to me, I don't have time to speak to you. I can't help you. everybody's been so welcoming. And I think that's one thing that the whole COVID process has shown me, that asking for help, it's not a weakness.
No.
It only helps you in the long run, and it strengthens your skill set. And also it gives you that opportunity to get to know people and what they know and who they know. So from that perspective, yes, it's not easy asking for help, but my recommendation to anybody starting new is ask for help, because the more intellectual capital you gain from somebody else, that means in the future when somebody new joins, you can share that intellectual capital with them too. And that's exactly what I've done, because since being part of the team and being the senior of the team, I've got 5 consultants that I'm training on a daily basis, and 3 of those are, from COVID. They join never actually meeting me other than over Zoom. And I always say to them, my door's always open. I have a little diary note, ask me anything in the afternoon, where they can just dial in and just ask me anything they want.
Wow.
It doesn't matter. There's no stupid questions at the end of the day. There's a reason why somebody needs to know what they need to know.
Yeah.
And if you've got the answers, I always say people will help. It's amazing how helpful people is. Doesn't matter which organization you look at. I think during COVID, the true essence of every organization started showing. And I'm glad that I chose an organization that actually really does care about their employees and shows it every single day. And I love it. I just absolutely love it.
And that's such a statement to be listened to, because I think there are plenty of firms who talk a good game, particularly on LinkedIn, or you see some positive reviews on Glassdoor, but they've really had to kind of put up or shut up during this year. It's a case of, if you say you look after staff and you care about their well-being, you care about their engagement and fostering a positive environment, now's the time to show it. And I think from speaking to you about Benefex, speaking to a lot of firms in the industry, they've done a really, really good job at not just doing it at the start, but continuing it all the way through. And I love your point about there's no stupid question. I remember someone told me that years ago, where isn't it the cliche that the only stupid question is the one that goes unasked? It's that, no, just ask away, as long as you take in the answer and you take it and you listen to it and you engage with it, then like you say, you can then repeat that to anyone else who has those issues moving forward. And so again, putting it over to you then. So looking at this from a management angle, you've just said you've got a team, 3 of whom you've hired during COVID.
Oh, I personally didn't hire them. Somebody more senior than me hired them.
Okay, they've still come into the business.
They're sitting in my pod.
They've still come in. They're still coming in. They're still new, like you say. They haven't met you in person, only via Zoom. So let's say then someone who is a manager, someone who is planning to hire someone and is maybe a little bit nervous of bringing in new blood, what tactics have you put in place aside from the ask anything in the afternoon? What else have you done that you've had some great success with and people have fed back positively to you?
So I'll be the first person to say to you, I hate micromanagement. I don't like it. I'm more person, just let me go and do things. But I found that during COVID-19, micromanagement was necessary, or still is necessary in some cases, just to get the person out of the starting blocks, making sure you've got that regular contact with them, but also, recognizing them on a regular basis for the work that they're doing. We're very lucky. We've got a great recognition tool, and just that little recognition where everybody can see, oh my word, Sammy's done a great job, and she's new and things. It gives you that warm fuzzy feeling. I know I'm addicted to it. Every time I get a recognition, I want to go and see why. But it makes you feel valued as an employee, and that's the thing when it comes to managing a new team, especially a team that doesn't have a lot of experience coming in, but are willing to learn. And it's just keeping that regular contact with them, making time for them.
Yeah.
And even if it's like the little basic things that you can, translate to them, like prep like a boss. I hate an empty diary. An empty diary means to me, you've got time to help somebody else with something that they might be very busy with. And it's just making sure that they know if they plan their week ahead, they are setting themselves up for success.
Mm-hmm.
And it's little things like that, just making sure that they know if they do these little things right, they're going to fly. And that's how I feel about my team. I feel my team are absolutely, they are soaring at the moment. They are brilliant. And I can't thank them enough for everything that they've done during COVID, because as much as things affect us as employees in the employee benefits industry, we also have customers that it affects too.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're going through. And we need to translate everything that Benefex has taught us and the tools that Benefex has given us. We need to translate that to our customers to make sure that they are also feeling looked after. And the tools that we give them gives them an opportunity to look after their employees. So from my perspective, my recommendation is do the micromanagement, even if it's just for 2 weeks. Just make sure that person is being looked after. They're not just sitting there waiting for work. There's nothing worse working from home and you've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, the days take forever.
Yeah.
But it is great, I think I've been very blessed with the people I work with and the team that I've got. And we've all pulled together during this pandemic. And from here on out, all this has done is made us stronger as a team.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love your point as well. This is something that over the years I've really struggled with, personally, the whole idea of, just doing lots of little things really, really well. I would look at the bigger picture, and I think that's something that I'm really trying to work on even now, to stop trying to take over the world. It was actually, I remember seeing an interview and it's always stuck with me. It was with Marco Pierre White, one of the best chefs ever, the guy who taught Gordon Ramsay. And they were asking about how he had 3 Michelin stars at such a young age. What was it about him that made him such a great chef? And I remember him saying the same. It's just doing lots of little things, but really, really well. And then you build on that. And I think your point there is absolutely spot on. You mentioned teamwork as well, because this is something that I also want to tackle. So when we look back on this year, and all the good things that have come out about it, flexible working, embracing flexible working, perhaps where some firms haven't, and now they've started and they've, reaped the rewards. You talk about teamwork. So what does that mean to you, both on a professional note and also a personal note, that you've got this closer kind of team dynamic going on because of everything you've been through?
Well, you mentioned something interesting, and that is the flexible working hours. So we keep forgetting that there are colleagues that do have children and they have to homeschool. Mm-hmm. And so they need to be away from their desk and from work for a set period of time. And if there is somebody in the team that can pick up their work whilst they are concentrating with the work that they're doing with their children, let's give it to them.
Yeah.
Let's take that pressure off them, because what you don't want to say, yeah, great, we're doing flexible working hours, but you've got 2 hours off during the morning, but you have to, work it back during the evening. There's nothing worse doing that to somebody, because by the time they do get to the laptop, they've got additional 20 emails that they have to work through.
Yeah.
When we as a team can work together to make that work lighter for people. And in addition to that, emotional well-being is very important. And for all of us, we do tend to sit in front of the computer much longer than we used to. So you'll find, you switch on at 7 in the morning and you might switch off at 8 at night. That's not really a life. And one of the things that I've installed within the team is you need to switch off at the appropriate time. You need to take that walk at lunchtime. There is other people in the team that can pick up work whilst you're away. Nothing's going to break. Nobody's going to die. You need to look after yourself first before you can be the person that, recommends and offers solutions to your customer. You cannot offer solutions to your customer about flexible working and well-being if you can't even do it for yourself. And I think that's one of the great things about Benefex is everything that they've put in place for their employees, they also ask us to put it in place for our customers. And we sort of practice what we preach.
Yeah.
If that makes sense what I'm saying.
Oh, definitely.
And it does sometimes, you know, work is pressure. There is sometimes going to be, you know, times where you have to work late and things. But I can't see, well, I've not seen this from the culture within Benefex where if, you know, you want to take 2 hours early off, somebody's going to say no to you. Of course not. And that's the thing from my side, my personal life, the teamwork is I'm able to switch off at an appropriate time, take my dog for a walk, and be able to have those calls with my family in Australia rather than, you know, waiting until I'm finished work when the kids are, you know, already away for school and things like that, which is lovely. And I think we just, I don't know, you bind as a team and you understand that this one's got childcare issues and this one's mother's not well. You just become one. You know everything about everybody. You've seen everybody's homes. So there's no hiding behind that. Trust me, I have seen it all, you know, the washing and things behind it. I've seen it all. And it's funny. I think it's just made us more aware that the person on the other side is only still a person.
Yeah. No, I think you're totally right. And on the subject of that, any background noise you can hear, that's my 3 kids causing an absolute havoc in just outside of my dining room. But yeah, it's kind of broken down those barriers a little bit, hasn't it? It's made us all become a bit more personal. And I love your point as well about knowing. We all need to know when we need to take a step away. You know, for example, to carry on your example, I'll start first thing in the morning. I'll start at the crack of dawn, 5:30, 6 o'clock before the kids have got up. But then after a couple of hours, I want to be able to get them ready for school. Maybe even do the school run, go for a run, you know, or later on in the day, go for a run, go and pick them up from school, you know. And I had something, we did an IT update a couple of weeks ago now. And for some reason, I've got my work phone, work emails, personal phone, but that would also have my work emails on it. For some reason, it won't re-add my work account to my personal phone. And you know what? I'm in no rush to fix that because I was finding it, you know, I'd be sat there in an evening, 9 o'clock at night, something's on TV, I'm scrolling Facebook and Instagram and whatever, and I check my emails. Now I don't do it because I've turned off my work phone. You know, unless I know there's something important, which, let's be honest, there rarely is, because like you say, if an email doesn't go answered, you know, until the morning, nothing bad's going to happen. The world's not going to end. So knowing when to step away, when to go and do something. And if you're doing that as a team, I mean, I think that's absolutely fantastic. You know, if someone stepped away, the others can pick up the call or pick up the inquiry, and that's brilliant. And what are you seeing from a customer perspective then? You mentioned that if you're, you know, supporting each other properly, it means you can support your customers, you know, to a much better ability. They want to implement that. So what trends have you seen? What successes have you seen on that score that perhaps other people could take away from this?
I think, you know, the industry pretty much is flooded with everything that's happening at the moment and every solution you can find.
Yeah.
But from our perspective, and this is actually quite interesting because we had this conversation earlier today, customers are much more involved in emotional well-being. They're pushing that much more. Yes, you know, mental health has always been, you know, big ticket on any customer's list, but it's evolved slightly where you've got additional mindfulness apps like Headspace and things. Virtual GP, massive increase where most customers would have had a PMI scheme, but not a virtual GP attached to it because it was an additional cost. They now have that. Financial well-being, you know, you've seen the uprise of Nudge and things. It's been incredible because with everything going on, we are mindless shoppers at the moment, getting ourselves more into debt. Because you can't go out shopping, so you just buy whatever you see looks nice. Don't actually need it, just put it under the bed. I'm sure at one point or another I'll need it. But so the uprise of the whole financial well-being, community well-being, that's one that has seen a massive increase because you've got so many new joiners to a company. they don't actually know people. So where we've got a social network where we've got gamers, they've got their own section where they talk about their gaming and play together at night.
Wow.
And we've got people with their pets. There's a pet section showing pictures of their cats and dogs, and there's me going ooh and ah all the time, like it's almost like a baby. And there's also the quizzes where literally every week there's some sort of quiz, try and work this out and things. So the community part has definitely, community wellbeing is definitely a big thing. And I think Gethin's done such a great job with all the podcasts that he's put out on wellbeing, speaking to different customers, different experts within the industry, and recognition has such a big uptake at the moment. Just having that little recognition tool, because you're not in the office where somebody can go and give you a little pat on the back saying, you know what, Tom, you did a fabulous job today. It's, you receive that little message, pops up, oh, you've been recognized, and you open it up and there's this funny GIF, which I don't always know where they find these things, but they're bloody incredible, with a little note saying what an incredible job you've done on something specific, or you've helped somebody, or you've helped on a project. It just makes you feel more involved in the company, that you're not being left to the wayside. And it's made such a big difference to not just us at Benefex, but also to our customers that are now using those tools. And hopefully, whilst we're still in lockdown now, we're going into the tiers next. Don't know if we're going to go into another lockdown, but I think our customers knows that we've got their back.
Yeah.
I see it's like such a simple thing to say, but we definitely do. And we can see that with our customers buying more instead of less, but they're buying more into their own employees' experience. And that's what, we're all about, is great employee experience. So from that perspective, you can see the uprise in that even greater employee experience.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's excellent. And you talk about simple things, that recognition, it's something that I remember being told a little while back, take the time to recognize the effort, the achievement of the teams. And if they're watching, I know I do it, I don't do it enough, but it is trying to do it. And like you say, it's one of those things that we would do in the office, a pat on the back. Yeah, well done. That was excellent. Really, really good call. Really good bit of work. Or it's so easy in an office. And then working from home, we would have a quick chat in the morning, maybe going through what are our objectives for the day, for the week. And then it would be quite clinical in a way, because we talk about, right, this is our plan. This is what we're going to do. And then that would be it. So I find myself in the afternoon, quick little catch up, sending them a text, what's going on? Right. Well done for that. Well done for that. Just to try and keep that engagement going, because the last thing I certainly would want is any of my colleagues thinking that I don't value them. And I suppose, on a much bigger scale with big companies, it's still the same. It doesn't matter if you've got 10 staff or 10,000 staff. They want to know that they matter, and that what they're doing is a good job, basically, isn't it?
It doesn't matter how small your input is into any company. It is that whole thing of knowing that your input is valued by your colleagues and by your peers. And that's what counts at the moment. Because we're so far away, you sometimes feel a little bit left out from conversations and things. But I think, from our perspective, it's just a case of go away with that, make people feel involved, have silly conversations, break up the day, have a coffee break with your team, just chat. Don't have to talk about work. Talk about the dog, the cat, what's happening in each other's lives. Yes, we might not have these fabulous holidays that you can come back and brag about. I do miss those. But there is still things going on in each other's lives. And I think, just asking somebody how you are might seem like such an insignificant thing. And of course, we all brush it off. Oh, I'm fine. But actually asking the question again, no, how are you, does make a big difference, because it does break that little barrier between she's only asking because she's being nice. No, actually, I'm asking because I actually really care about you and I want to know. And I think that's the culture within Benefex, that we have provided that for everybody, or they've provided that for everybody, where everybody cares about each other. And I'm quite a dominant person with a big personality, so it might be a lot for people to take on, on a daily basis. But I can honestly say that with everybody that I've met, be it on a Teams call, be it on a Zoom call, have been absolutely welcoming. And if any company can provide that to a newcomer during this pandemic and making them feel as welcome as Benefex made me feel, you've got an employee for life.
Oh, that's
honestly.
fantastic. No, that's absolutely brilliant, because I suppose when we all come out of this at some point, hopefully, we will look back on it and we will remember, the good times, the good kind of employers, the people that actually showed they cared. The latest thing that I'm a big fan of is walking meetings. So that's still within the current restriction levels, as long as it's two of you. Keep your distance, and go for a walk, grab a coffee, walk back. I've done quite a few of them now, and they're fantastic. I love them. Bit of exercise to go with the running, bit more relaxed, fresh air, and you can have those conversations. They're not necessarily about work. If anything, I try and make sure they're not about work. It's more about, what's going on? Oh, you're moving house. Oh, you've got a puppy. You've got this. Let's have some human interaction.
No, definitely. I miss that. I can't do that where I am, but I'm pretty sure, people in London are much more equipped to do it, and more I'm sort of rural, more towny places will probably be able to do it. And I miss that, because even before the pandemic, we had your walking meetings where you would walk and talk. I think now what I value is when you do go onto a Teams or Zoom call, is people having their cameras on. Trust me, they don't look as polished as they did at the beginning of the pandemic. I actually look really good today. But I think, it's just that we're all in the same boat, and we have to remember that. Everything that you're going through, Tom, there's another person out there going through exactly the same thing and feel exactly the way that you do. And same for me, somewhere out there is going through exactly what I am. But it's just remembering that we're all human. We need to take each other's into consideration. You do not know that person's personal circumstances. What you see is the person that they portrayed to you during their time in work. Sometimes you just need to take a step back, take some time, have a coffee break with that person, because you never know, you might just be saving somebody.
Yeah, without a doubt. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That is such a key point to remember, where taking that time, actually listening to their answer, actually showing that you care and that you are an ear, can be worth its weight in gold, because like you say, you don't know what facade people are putting up and how they actually feel. And the final point I want to cover, because this I think is very, very important, and one of the reasons why I'm so glad you agreed to join us today. Looking back now, what would you say to the person that you were back in March and April? You mentioned it earlier, when you had those really, really down days where you were feeling useless, or you were feeling like you couldn't pick it up and you couldn't get to grips with who to speak to and whatever. Now we're in November. What would you say to that person? And therefore, what would you say to anyone else who's maybe sat there feeling anxious that they're going to go through the same thing?
Well, for me, I would say, you know what, girl, you've got gumption, and it's time you put that gumption to work. And trust people. Trust the people you work with, because at the end of the day, their goal is similar to yours. They want to give each and every customer we have a great experience.
Yeah. Well, we're all on the same team. Just reach out, talk. And I think it's a fantastic point to end on. And it's great to hear that the new role's going really, really well. Long may that continue, and hats off to Benefex for making you feel so welcome. But thank you so much for joining us today, Annezel. It's been great to chat to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.